It's not true. Your kids don't have everything they need to know just out of high school. They need to learn something in college, too. They need to go to a Catholic college. So many kids, they think they were raised, they were homeschooled, they had all this stuff all the way through high school, and then they got to college, they were just no match for the professors and the intellectuals that were there that stripped them of their faiths. So, you just have to do it, and you can't be naive. You got to be able to say, okay, I got to see with my eyes open what's going on here in the world. So that's education, right? You got to do every level. You got to be together with your kids, right? At a very young age, giving them a good example of that happy, holy, married life. In their early stages of their sacraments, those positive associations with the faith, the proper catechesis, right? The good literature, the things like that, and then the care, the guarding of them against the influences of the world. All those things are really going to be important. Now, when all said and done, like I said, you're going to be able to do only so much. And at a certain point, you're just going to have to say, okay, God, you're going to have to take care of this part, right? Your kids are going to get exposed to things despite your best efforts. And so some of them are going to leave the faith, for different reasons. I know several cases of families, beautiful, happy marriages and good families, 10, 11 kids, whatever. One of the kids, they have some practice in faith or whatever. And so then the next question is, how do you get your kids back? How do you get your kids back when that's happening? The first thing you need to remember is the reason why your kids have left the practice of the faith is not because they don't remember. Okay? Very often parents, what they do is they just keep on telling them over and over and over again, just browbeating them with like, here's the faith, here's the faith, here's the faith. They know the faith, right? Tell them once and that's all you need to do. Don't tell them over and over and over again. That only drive them away, okay? You tell them once, if you see they're doing something they shouldn't do, for example, they get married outside the church or they start living a sinful life, you tell them once. And you tell them, look, I'm not gonna stop loving you because you're doing this, and I'm not going to keep you out of my life or something like that because you're doing this, you're living this way. And just tell them once. Then the next thing that you have to do is you need to obviously pray for them. Okay? In the scriptures, 3 times Jesus raises someone from the dead. On all 3 occasions, it's at the prayers of an immediate family member. So you have the son of the widow of Nain being carried out on a stretcher. You've got the daughter of Jairus, who's at home in her room. And then you've got the brother of Martha and Mary, Lazarus, who's in the tomb. Look at that. Mother, son, father, daughter, brother, sister. Jesus saved his greatest miracles for the prayers of a family member. Okay? Your prayers have special power before God for your immediate family members who are dead in sin, who have left the church, who have left the faith. Okay? So first of all, you have to have confidence in the power of your prayers. Okay? And you don't need to see it for yourself. Look at Jairus. You remember what happened with Jairus? He goes to Jesus, he says, come, my daughter's at the point of death. You got to come and heal her. And just in the chapter before, the 2nd chapter of St. Luke's Gospel, a centurion had come to Jesus and said, come and heal my servant. And Jesus said, I'll come. And he said, just do it from there. I believe you just do it right there. You just say the word and I know that my servant will be healed. And then he goes home in peace. And he comes home and he finds his servant healed. Jairus doesn't have that kind of trust. So Jairus needs Jesus to come the whole way. And while he's on the way, what happens is a woman who has a hemorrhage, she touches him, she slows him down, and then his daughter dies while Jesus is on the way. Don't trouble the master anymore. Your daughter is dead. And Jesus says, don't be afraid. What you need is trust. And Jesus goes the rest of the way. He raises her from the dead. Jairus could have saved himself a lot of pain if he had just said, Jesus, I believe you can do this from where you are. I don't need to see it for myself. I don't need you to come with me. You just say the word, and I believe that my daughter is going to be healed. And then he could have gone home in peace, and he would have found his daughter well when he got there. Does God do the same way with us? You can save yourself a lot of suffering. You know, many of you have children that are away from the faith, or siblings, or maybe parents that are away from the faith. Okay? And you can take this tact. You can say, well, Jesus, I need to see this person converted. I need to see it for myself. And just be in agony the whole time. Or you can say, Jesus, I know you're going to convert this person. And when I get home to heaven, I'm going to find him there. And that's all I need to know. I can trust you. You can have the faith of the centurion, or you can have the lack of faith of Jairus, and you can add your own suffering. Okay? So you need to have that trustful prayer. Okay? And you don't have to see it for yourself. Just count on when you get home to heaven, they're going to be there. Okay? And be at peace, but pray. Pray for them. Okay? The second thing to realize is this, that when you have someone who has left the practice of the faith, right? Someone who's left the practice of the faith like that, they are going to need just a loving support so that when the time comes, they'll be able to come back. They need to have happy memories of the practice of their faith, and they have to have the sense that the life that they're living, whatever it is, really doesn't hold a candle to the life they had before. And so it's really important for them to have a welcome back, you know, so that they don't sense being rejected by their parents or by their family in a definitive way. You say, whenever you're ready to come back, I'm ready to take you back. Okay? That's going to be really important with regard to their return to faith. Let's see, there's one other thing before I move on to this topic. Well, if it's important, it'll come back to me. Okay, so there you have it. Keeping your kids Catholic, positive associations with regard to the faith, the zealous and happy and joyful practice of your own faith, right? And then that kind of hope, that very hopeful sense that the Lord's going to take care of your family, and going to take care of your kids, even when you can't see it for yourself. Just that really, that trusting hope in the Lord, that the Lord is going to come and He's going to help you. I'm going to finish with a story that I think you'll find very moving and a really beautiful story. So, many years ago, before I was even a priest, I was a seminarian. And a friend of mine came to me and she said, my grandmother has just turned 100 years old. And she has been very anti-Catholic her whole life. And she's getting close to death. She's starting to take a turn for the worse physically. And I'm hoping that you can come and speak to her. I wasn't even a priest at the time. And I said, sure, I'll do what I can. I'll just, you look at a case like that and you wonder about what you can do. But she said that right before I came over, she said, well, my grandma's been having this recurring dream. And in this dream, she's invited to this party, but she can't go for some reason. I said, oh, that's interesting. So I went and I sat down with her, and I talked to her. She's very polite. And I said, I hear you've been having this dream. And she said, yes. And I said, tell me about the dream. She told me about the dream. And I said to her, the dream means that you're being invited to go to heaven, but you can't go because you're not baptized in Catholic yet. She said, oh. I said, would you like to be baptized in Catholic? She said, that would be fine. 100 years old. So I got a priest from the Abbey to come down, he baptized, he confirmed her. She went to Mass once, received communion once, and then she died. And when she was baptized, she said something interesting. She said, my mother would be so happy. And my friend, her name was Cynthia, her granddaughter, my friend said, Granny, why would your mother be so happy? I thought you were raised without any faith. She said, my mother had been a Catholic, but my father was a very staunch atheist, so he prevented any faith from being practiced in our house. And so my mother was sad about that, but we were all raised very anti-Catholic. And it turns out that that woman That poor Catholic who married the atheist, who wasn't allowed to practice her faith, who wasn't allowed to raise any of her children her faith. Her own daughter was a deathbed baptism. The mother of the woman that I knew. I'm sorry, the grandmother of the one I knew. Her daughter was a deathbed baptism, the one I just described. Then her daughter, the grandmother's daughter, the mother of my friend, was a deathbed baptism. And then the granddaughter was a friend of mine and become a Catholic through this Catholic family she knew. And then a couple of years ago, the brother of that friend of mine, who had been living a sinful life and had never been raised Catholic, calls me and asks me to come baptize him before he went under a serious surgery. So now every single descendant of that woman died a baptized Catholic, or is a baptized practicing Catholic today. Every single one of them. So I tell you that story out of hope, but she never saw one of them. She died before any of them ever became Catholics. And yet her prayers were answered. So I tell you that as just a message of hope. You know, God is working out the salvation of people, even if it takes 100 years. You just have to trust on your part. You just have to trust. God's going to use your tears. He's going to use your tears. He's going to use your suffering and your sacrifices. You just need to trust. So with that, we can close with prayer. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Mary, Mother of Christians. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you all very much. God bless you. I can do it here. Okay. Sure. So we're going to have about 10 or 15 minutes of question and answer. So whoever has any pretty good questions, I'll do my best to respond. Yes. Here.
So as far as listening, some of this wisdom, love for God, for our children, I know in the last 2 generations it's been a deficiency of Catholic education.
Yes.
And there's that saying, you can't get what you haven't received.
Yeah.
I mean, we homeschooling and have textbooks and stuff, but really it takes a teacher. That's sort of like interaction. How do we disseminate that love and knowledge to our kids if we ourselves
Yeah, okay.
there's no planet around us?
Yeah.
I don't know about Bakersfield, but
Sure, yeah. So obviously, so the question is in summary that if you haven't received a good or a perfect Catholic education yourself, or even a good one, how are you going to be able to pass that on to your kids? There are a couple different things that have to happen. The first thing is, even if you don't have that education yourself, you can identify people who do, okay? And so you need to enlist help, okay? You need to enlist help. And one of the things that's really true is there's a lot more available today than there was even 20 or 30 years ago. For example, there's this whole website called form.org that has all sorts of really great Catholic resources that you can use. And you can, together with your kids, learn your faith. You know what I mean? Where you're just doing it together. Now, there's nothing more attractive to a kid than to actually be learning together with their parents. Right? They really love that, actually. They feel like, they're doing something together. A kid will hate to do homework, but if their dad's doing it with them, they love it. Right? It's funny, even kids in high school where I teach, I have kids where they would be, you give them some assignment and they'd be upset, but then if you said, okay, you and I are just going to do this together after class, they'd be really happy. They just like the idea of doing it together with their parents. So sometimes you're going to be, forming yourself together with your kids, and that's one of the most effective things you can do. And they see your joy, your excitement in learning something and growing your faith or whatever. So that's one thing that you can do. You have access to a lot of things that people didn't have before. Another thing that can happen is that you can entrust the education of your kids to other people if you can identify good schools. Now, the problem is, like you said, at that primary level of education, there's not a lot around, right? You can say, like, okay, there's Thomas Aquinas College, or there's Christendom, or these places like that, where you can send them for college. But the primary and secondary education, you might not have a lot that you can do there. And there again, you know, you're going to have to do the extra work, I think, you know, to form yourself so that you can, you know, do that together with the kids. The other half is your own moral formation, you know, and you're going to have defects. Every parent, you know, if you haven't figured this out, you haven't been a parent yet, but every parent is a failure. Okay? You're going to be like, I have failed my kids. I failed, you know. And you have to be okay with the fact that God can even use your failings as part of his plan for your children's salvation, right? Your children need to know, for example, that there's only one Father in heaven that they can really call their Father. And, you know, only the Virgin Mary can really be a perfect mother for them. And your kids need to learn that lesson from your own mistakes or whatever. So don't be afraid at the moral level when you fail as in raising your kids. Don't be afraid to say, I'm sorry.